What was your first impression of Herb, Mother's dad?
My first impression of Roseanne's dad was that he just wasn't around very much. He worked a lot, and he just had to do that, and he didn't mind doing it, and he made lots of friends. Everybody knew him. He was a lot like Matthew. Every place he'd go, people would know him. He'd go to the bakery shop and they would give him free donuts because he was just so polite and so nice to everybody that, he was just very, very friendly.
There we go. Okay, did he make you nervous whenever you finally had to meet him? And how long did it take for you to feel comfortable with him?
Grandpa never really made me nervous, nor did Grandma. I was so in love with Roseanne that, I really didn't pay that much attention. Her parents were always nice. They always invited me over for dinner, and they invited me to go up to Roseanne's grandparents, and they were just very, very nice all the time, and, just kind of made me part of the family right from the start, and they were just easy to talk to, and always enjoyed being there.
Okay. How did your first encounter with Grandpa go? Was it good? Was it bad? Kind of describe what happened the first time you ever actually met him, because I know you probably dated a little bit before you actually got to sit down and actually meet him for the first time.
I can't say that I actually remember my first encounter with Grandpa. Like I said, he wasn't there a lot of the time. He was working a lot, and he worked a lot of double shifts. So when I would come over, he wouldn't be there a lot of the time. So I just kind of got what I knew about him mostly from Roseanne, and whenever he was there, it was mostly him with the family, and he was usually running errands and mowing the grass and taking care of the house, and at the time we first met, he was involved with fixing the basement, which where he spent a lot of time, and he had to get it fixed for Roseanne's graduation, and then of course, shortly right after the graduation, it got torn apart again, and it's been that way for the last 30-some years in the same condition it was right after her graduation. But it was finished in time for her graduation, so I guess that was the most important thing.
That's funny. I think everybody has mentioned the basement. Did you ever see his gun, or did he ever threaten to bring his gun out for you?
He used to have it, well, as far as his guns go, he used to have his guns in a gun cabinet there.
That's not what I meant.
I know what you meant.
Did you ever do bringing the gun out and sitting on the couch and cleaning it going...
No. No, I was never threatened with Grandpa's guns. He had them sitting out there, and I knew he did a lot of hunting and everything, but he used to have them in a gun cabinet, and no, he never pulled one out and started cleaning it in front of me. No, that never happened.
How was your relationship with him? Pretty easygoing, or were you guys like a couple of alpha dogs? Or, is it the way Matthew tries to be friends with all of his, we'll call them girlfriends, but we know he doesn't have any, their parents, or, so that he's always got a good in? Is that how you were with him, or was it a little bit more tense? As the years went on,
Grandpa was always very easygoing. I mean, he always wanted to include me with the family, and there was never any antagonism. I mean, he made me feel welcome, and as I said, he wasn't there most of the time, but all the time he was there, I mean, he treated me with a great deal of respect, and as you know, we've grown older together. You know, we've done some things together, and you know, go out and meet some of his friends and go to his place of work, and you know, he was always proud of all the things that he did, and he would share that with me, and you know, I was always very proud of the hard work that he did, and I was always very proud of the fact that he was served his country, and you know, went in the Navy, and if it wasn't for people like him and my dad and my mom, you know, where would we be today? So, I mean, there's a great deal to be proud of him for, and he never let the fact that he didn't have a college degree or anything prevent him from, you know, bringing in a good living and taking care of his family and making sure they had everything that they needed to have. So I admire him greatly for all the work that he put in.
Did Grandpa ever get? He might have expressed this to you and not to Mom, but did you ever get that he was upset that you were taking his girl away when you had to move to South Carolina? We know it was for your job, but was there ever any type of tension, for the lack of a better word, but did he ever express anything to you about whenever you had to move away, when you said that you told him that you had to move away?
I don't think Grandpa ever had any fears that I wouldn't take good care of Roseanne. When we first got married, we were in school, so we were gone anyway. And he pretty much agreed with the philosophy that my dad had, which was it's good for young married people to live away from their family so that they can make their mistakes on their own and not have to account to other people for them, not have to go back and apologize and say, well, that's not what he meant, or, you know. So being away allowed us to learn who each other was, and, you know, make a lot of mistakes in our marriage, and not really have that be held against us by the parents because we were right there in their backyard. We couldn't go crying to my mom or dad or Roseanne's mom and dad. I mean, they just weren't there. And telephones were expensive, and you know, if you would have called them to complain, either family would have just hung up on you. You know, that is, you know, what are you wasting a phone call for? Figure it out on your own, you know. So no, I don't think there was ever any problem with us living away. I think it helped Roseanne probably get closer to her parents. But I don't think that it was anything that was unexpected. They weren't like that. Roseanne's grandparents, they moved away, and Grandpa's mother died early when on our relationship, and his the rest of his family, they were out in California, so you know, he was used to people not being there and, you know, being close and having to make a phone call, so that was fairly common for him. Roseanne's mother was probably a little more concerned, but I think Grandpa was ready, you know, for us to do what we needed to do to go out on our own.
At Graham's house, there were a lot of memories for us, the children. We always remembered the little McDonald's measuring stick in the bathroom, and that mask. I don't know, never knew what it was, but I always remember going down and pulling into the garage. It was always right there, a bit to the left of the garage in the back. And Pillsbury Doughboy always sitting right above the stove, and that little half table with the ends folded up. And so, okay, we always remember stuff like that down there. they sold it, and it was kind of that was out of the blue. You know, we didn't get to go look at it one last time and whatnot. Now that it's getting closer to the point where Grandma and Grandpa, that house may be gone soon because of one reason or another. Do you have any feelings about that eventually being gone? Because, you know, Mom grew up there, and I know you spent a lot of time over there from what I've been told. Is it going to be it's just a house, you know, there's nothing great about it? Or is it going to be you know, I remember one time at that house that I want to make sure that I can go back and see at least one last time or something like that?
There are some memories from Roseanne's house. We spent most of the time in the living room. And that hasn't changed any. So I mean, we could take a picture of that today, and it would basically be the same living room that was there, except for I don't believe that the record player is there anymore. But it might be. Everything's pretty much the same 35 years later, and just about in as good a condition as it was 35 years ago. As far as the rest of the house goes, as I mentioned before, the basement, you know, it never did get fixed, and I'm still waiting for the upstairs bathroom to be fixed. I always thought that the breakfast nook was always very cozy. It was very nice, very family, very informal, but at the same time, very warm and very friendly. And that's where we ate almost all the time.
Will it be difficult to know that you're never going to see that house again after a certain amount of time, whenever it comes to that? Will it be?
I mean, you know, whenever it's time to sell that house, it really won't impact me that much. I mean, it might impact Roseanne, but having gone through selling the houses that we've sold, where all the kids grew up and everything, you know, it's gone. It's a past memory, and I mean, you can always remember the house and look at some pictures and say, you know, I remember this and I remember that. But as far as the house, it's just you know, wood and mortar and brick, and it's the people, you know, that we have memories of. The house is just a backdrop for the relationships, and Grandma and Grandpa were always great with you kids from the time you were little. They always gave you as much as they could possibly give you, and spend as much time with as they could possibly spend with you guys. And you know, we always knew that if we left the kids with Grandma and Grandpa, that they'd be well taken care of, and we just never had to worry. So our memories, my memories, are of you know, what they've done and how they've taken care of the kids and us, and not so much the house itself. That's just a backdrop.
Okay. That's another kind of a house question, but before it's gone, is there one place in that house that you want to just go and stand in or see one last time? Is there anything like that in there where something specific happened and you said, that's where I did this and this for the first time, or, you know, something happened in one specific place in that house?
Again, there's nothing really special about, you know, any of the specific rooms. I mean, you know, we had Christmas and we opened up packages in the living room. I mean, there are memories there, but they're different than the memories that a child would have, being little and looking at things from one perspective and then coming back and looking at them from an adult perspective. You know, we always had basically an adult perspective of the house, so I don't know. Again, it's the people. It's not the backdrop. And Grandpa was a special person. I mean, lots and lots of friends, and his friends are dying off now, and I'm sure that's taking its toll on him, and that's why we're really encouraging him very strongly to make the move down to South Carolina so that he can be with his family now that a lot of his friends are gone, and enjoy his family for the years that he's got left.
Complete sentence. Do you think that Grandpa is proud of the life that you and Mom have made together?
Well, I know that Grandpa is proud of the life that Roseanne and I have had. He's said that. He's very proud of us and our family, and he says that quite often. He's watched each of the kids grow up. He's watched Roseanne go to college and not know what she's going to do when she gets out of school, and then decide what she's going to do, and then have a successful career. I mean, he's very proud of that. He's proud of each one of the kids for all that they've accomplished, the fact that they've grown up, they've stayed out of trouble, that they've, are having adult lives now, and they haven't been in jail, they haven't been hurt, they haven't been hurting other people. I think he's very proud of our family.
Is there something that you can think of that just strikes you as funny about Grandpa? And I'll tell you about the other thing.
I don't know that there's any specific incident that strikes me as being funny with Grandpa. The thing that we always noted was that Grandpa always had friends that were going to give him deals. And sometimes the deals weren't really deals. They were just, Grandpa, he had a friend, and a friend said to do this, and so he did it. I mean, he trusted people implicitly. And Grandma wasn't nearly as trusting as Grandpa was, but, if a guy was his friend and everybody was Grandpa's friend, and he said to do this, that's what Grandpa would do. I mean, if he said he would give him a deal, he would give him a deal. And Grandpa just trusted that he would give him a deal. He was that type of person that would be very trustworthy. But, we always knew what kind of car he was going to get. We knew where he was going to get the car, and we knew it was going to be because he was going to get a good deal. It didn't matter whether he got a good deal. We knew that, he thought he was going to get a good deal, and he was going to go there. But, he had, and I guess you guys have inherited this. If somebody is your friend, especially Brandon and Matthew, if somebody is your friend, they're your friend through thick and thin. And, that it doesn't matter how long apart you are from them, if the friend strays, you always treat that person as a friend, and that's what Grandpa always did. I mean, people were his friend through thick and thin. He didn't hold little grudges against people. They were his friend, and he was always a friend. Grandpa was, as a tool and die maker, he was, I guess, very good at his craft. But he also seemed to have some injuries every now and then that, what can you say? How many people is it that have a pet skunk and have the skunk bite him and then go into the hospital and say, stitch it up. No, don't give me any Novocaine. Don't give me any anesthetic. Just stitch it up. And, his threshold for pain was extremely high. I guess if the doctor didn't anesthetize him to start off with, he'd have his surgery without anything. So, yeah, but anytime he ever had stitches or anything, he'd just say, sew it up, just says it hurts more to get the Novocaine than it does to get the stitches, so just sew it up.
He had a pet skunk?
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, they had a pet skunk.
Goodness.
Used to have it they had pine trees in the front yard, and they had a chain around the tree, and then they had the skunk. They had it descented. I mean, yeah. But the skunk has fangs like a snake.
Oh.
And when they go in like that. So whenever it bit into him, I mean, you couldn't just pull him out. I mean, it tore up his arm a little bit. Well, Grandpa, happy 80th birthday. That's a major, 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 major milestone. My father never made it that far, and my mother fortunately did, and I'm very happy for you. Roseanne always was concerned that because your father died so young that you would, and that she wouldn't have an opportunity to be with you, and that our kids wouldn't have an opportunity to know you. So happy birthday, congratulations on a milestone of 80 years. I love you very much. You've been so helpful and supportive my entire life, and because you were closer than my own family, you were like my own family, and I love you. And we love you. You're Roseanne and I, our entire family, we love you. We think you're the greatest, except for the fact that you won't move down here. You gotta move down here. But other than that, we think you're the greatest. Happy birthday.